from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. It's Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. It's great to be with you again. You know, Jon, we've been doing Ballroom Boxing for about 3 years now on Home Team Sports, and we get excited because we're fight fans. What is the special atmosphere that a fan gets when he comes to the ballroom?
I think in a lot of ways, Larry, it's like good minor league baseball, except for it's not single A or double A. This is triple A, particularly for boxing. These are some of the best shows you're going to see at this level anywhere in the country.
And you know, some of the dreams born here tonight sometimes blossom into world champions. We have 3 world champions in attendance tonight, and the DC-Baltimore area really is a hotbed for professional boxing.
Well, no question. Sugar Ray Leonard, of course, being the most famous name to come out of this area. Riddick Bowe, Simon Brown. Tonight we have Charmaine Mitchell, Keith Holmes, and Mark Too Sharp Johnson. This is a hard-bitten town, produces world champions.
Now, we are excited. Hope you are too. Hey, Jon, what do you like most about ballroom boxing?
Well, I really think the tip of the hat must go off to Scott Wagner, who's a promoter. Young guy who hustles. He's really made a go of it for himself, and I think the boxing fans in this area benefited.
All right, folks, remember, keep your guard up. The first fight's in the ring when we return. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue, Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael and Jon Saraceno, and it's great to have Pat O'Malley in the ring. He's got our first introduction.
And welcome to Michael's 8th Avenue and another night of professional boxing. This, a night of champions. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carlin Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Bonella, along with Ballroom Boxing of Michael's 8th Avenue, promoter Scott Wagner and matchmaker Josh Hall, present this 6-round bout in the junior middleweight division. The referee in charge is Gary Campaneschi. Judging the bout are Kenny Chevalier, Don Risher, and Jodi Wingfield. Introducing the boxers. To my left, out of the blue corner, weighing 151 pounds, wearing the black trunks, from Silver Spring, Maryland, with a record of 5-4, 3 via the KO. Please welcome Larry Lethal Johnson. To my right, out of the red corner, weighing 149 3/4 pounds, from Baltimore, Maryland, with a record of 8-3-1, 4 by knockout. Please welcome Charles Clark.
Charles Clark before in the ballroom. Jon, let's take a look at the matchup. Charles Clark, 26 years old. Larry Johnson, the veteran, 32.
And the biggest disparity, of course, Charles, a half a foot shorter than Larry Johnson.
Look at the disdainful look on the face of Larry Johnson, who is who's on the wrong end of a 3-fight knockout streak. He's been knocked out the last 3 times he's entered the ring. Last time out, March the 17th of this year, of 95. Knocked out in the first round by Aaron Mitchell. So Larry Johnson has taken some time off to try to regroup and break that 3-fight losing streak.
A lot of ring rust.
And you might remember Charles Clark against Jerry Booker in a war here in the ballroom a couple months back.
Well, Charles Clark is a fighter who's known for putting a lot of rounds in. Doesn't get a lot of knockouts.
Good straight right hand by Charles Clark to get things started. I want to thank the good folks at Budweiser Beer as well as Toyota for bringing us Ballroom Boxing here in the ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. You see Larry Johnson after a long layoff looking in pretty good shape, Jon.
Well, we're not going to know in the first few seconds of this opening round what kind of shape he's in, especially when he's been off that long. But certainly there's not a lot of body fat there.
Well, Larry Johnson's claim to fame was a knockout victory over Alfonso Daniels back in 1994, and Alfonso has been on our ballroom boxing cards on numerous occasions. He's a very talented fighter, and he got caught looking by Larry Johnson back 5 years ago. Johnson looking to try to turn his career around.
Well, actually, for a while, he took up kickboxing, Larry. It didn't work out for him. Now he's back to smacking people around with his hands only.
Hometown flavor here as Clark lives in Baltimore. Larry Johnson from nearby Silver Spring, Maryland.
And you see the size disparity with Clark. He's got to find a way to get inside the taller, rangier fighter, Larry Johnson, at 6'1".
Good sharp.
Good straight left hand, yeah, by Larry Johnson.
And he walks into a right, and they're going to call that a slip. Gary Campaneschi. Now, I do believe a right hand scored.
Wow, I tell you what, for a slip, he looks awfully hurt. And he hit hard, Larry, on the canvas.
That was a straight right hand as Johnson was coming in. Clark timed him perfectly. And you see the legs of Larry Johnson, very wobbly. That ring rust very apparent right now after that strong shot.
And the lead right hand working against the southpaw. That's the best weapon to use.
See, Johnson was hurt by that punch, trying to stay away. Clark the overhand right. Misses widely with the left.
Well, Clark's got to be careful here, not to get careless.
Larry Johnson has 3 knockouts out of his 5 wins.
He just shot that straight right hand again.
Larry Johnson's last victory was that knockout win over Alfonso Daniels. That victory followed by 3 straight knockouts and a 4-year layoff from boxing. Looks like that left hand might have some power for Larry Johnson. Clark just ducking away from it. Despite a schedule for 6 rounds.
Well, look how tentative Larry Johnson looks after that knockdown. I don't know if the cobwebs have cleared or he's just found new respect for the little guy Charles Clark.
Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Let's take a look, John, at the slip, as it was called. You know what?
You know what? The right hand went right over his left shoulder.
Good call by Gary Campaneschi. He might have run into the shoulder of Clark, but certainly the slip was the proper call.
Yep, good call by the referee.
Slip did shake up Johnson, though.
Got to remind me what I said.
He did look a lot of wobbly. He looked very wobbly, John, getting up off
it's possible.
You know.
Yeah, well, the way he hit the canvas maybe jarred his skull.
Good left hand there by Larry Johnson, trying to use that reach advantage. He's got a 4.5-inch reach advantage and a substantial height advantage as well.
Well, Johnson's got pretty decent hand speed, but he doesn't vary his jab enough. He keeps throwing it the same way, and Clark is able to time with the right hand.
Good right hand by Clark. And that got the attention of Larry Johnson. John, when a guy's been out of the ring for 5 years like Larry Johnson's been out, of course, he's been in the gym, he's trained for this fight, but what's the difference between getting ready, training, and sparring, and actually having a fight in front of the lights?
Well, there's many. First of all, of course, you know, depending on what he's doing in the gym, whether he's having live situation kind of fights, by that we mean without headgear and smaller gloves, it's going to be different using larger gloves and headgear. You have a safety feature there that you don't have in front of a live crowd. Also, just dealing with your nerves on fight night. It's almost a cocoon of safety when you're sparring in the gym in a lot of cases, particularly if you're not getting good sparring. It all depends what you and your trainer are doing.
So not a lot of footwork from Larry Johnson.
Yeah, but you know what?
Charles Clark could be making him work a little bit harder, John.
Well, he's getting picked off with that jab a little bit, and it's made Clark think twice. And also, you got to ask yourself a question. Is Clark now loading up, thinking he can just get this guy out of here with one shot? Of course, he knows he didn't land that right hand. But that's what it kind of looks like.
It looks like Larry Johnson finding a little bit of rhythm with that jab. I think you're right.
Well, Larry Johnson's got to set down and throw a little bit more. I mean, he's moving an awful lot here, and it's tough to win a fight when you're moving like that.
Clark, though, really not taking advantage.
Well, he can't find the target.
Good right hand by Clark. Not much power behind it. A glancing blow. Good left hand by Larry Johnson.
Well, Larry Johnson's got some skills. A decent boxer. Oh, ran right into a right hand, Larry.
Larry Johnson is down. Gary Campaneschi counting.
Yep.
I think Johnson's okay. I think maybe he got a little overconfident and got careless.
Well, Clark timed it. Threw a straight right hand, caught him flush in the face.
Larry Johnson appears to be okay. And the end of round 2. Charles Clark scores with a big right hand.
There was no phantom punch in that second round. As you see Clark right on the kisser.
Beautiful shot by Charles Clark right on the button. And you know what? What got Larry Johnson up from that shot?
Yeah, well, his momentum, too. He was being thrown right into the punch.
Third member of our crew tonight, once again, is Jon Scheinman. John, how do you have it scored through 2?
Well, I've got a 20-16 for Charles Clark. I didn't have the benefit of the replay when I made my decision on the first round. I gave it to 10-8 for Clark, but I think he's been too respectful of Larry Johnson here. A guy coming off a layoff of that length of time, he should just be all over him and telling him, hey, you don't want to come back to boxing. And as we've seen, whenever he's gotten off, he's been able to really hurt Larry Johnson.
Thank you, John. You know, Jon Saraceno, I think John Scheinman needs to get a pencil with an eraser.
Yeah, you could fudge a little bit on that when you don't see the replay, Johnny. Come on. You know, I think he makes a good point. I think Clark would like to do more punching, but when a guy is showing the kind of lateral movement that Larry Johnson is, it's a lot easier said than done. Plus, he's a southpaw. So,
there's some blood from the nose of Larry Johnson. Good left hand there by Johnson. A glancing blow caught Clark off balance. There's the right hand again. And sooner or later, Johnson's going to have to sit and fight, and I'm not sure he can stand up to the assault of Clark.
And I think he knows that, Larry. But you know what? He is tagging Clark with the jab and the straight left hand.
Really not phasing Clark, though. There's a little bit of a mouse under the left eye of Charles Clark.
Clark seems to realize that if he can get his best power punches off on the inside, he can get this guy out of here. But I'm not so sure that Johnson's going to go anywhere.
This is the third round of a fight scheduled for 6. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno with you tonight. Charles Clark, the shorter of the two fighters, taking on Larry Johnson from Silver Spring, Maryland. Thumping left hand by Johnson off the gloves of Charles Clark. He continues the aggressive onslaught. Larry Johnson just ducking away. Not sure Johnson has any kind of power to hurt Clark, John.
Well, he hasn't displayed it if he has, but you know what? He's a long, rangy puncher, and he's got a small guy in front of him, so you can't underplay that also. It's too bad Charles Clark is so short for a junior middleweight.
Larry Johnson, this is his lightest weight since 1989 for a fight. So Larry Johnson got in good shape for this return to boxing. I don't know if he did enough work on the chin, however. Clark, glancing left hand and a right hand. And you wonder what's keeping Clark back. I don't think the jab is as effective as it was in the second round for Larry Johnson. Clark now taking advantage.
This guy's running on him.
Now Johnson has Clark up against the ropes. We'll have more Ballroom Boxing from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. We're back, round 4. Great to have you with us for Ballroom Boxing. Charles Clark, the shorter of the two fighters with the blue trunks in the ring. Larry Johnson, long and lanky from Silver Spring, Maryland. 3 rounds in the books. And Jon Saraceno, you obviously have this fight in favor of Charles Clark. Or do you?
Mr. Clark ahead 30-26 after 3. Wow. Uppercut missing from Johnson from way outside as Clark lunged in.
John, Larry Johnson's been down once already in this fight. Doesn't look like he has the power to be able to really impact this fight. And he's been taking some punches. What can he do in the ring now to try to turn this around?
He's going to have to keep moving. He's going to have to keep jabbing and hope to catch Clark when he comes in. See, every once in a while, Johnson launches this assault. It lasts for about 5 or 10 seconds, then he backs off and continues to move.
As Charles Clark comes running in with that right hand, leaves himself susceptible to the left. And Johnson from the southpaw stance, you'd think he might be able to take advantage.
Well, Clark's getting ready to throw that right hand again. He's trying to time it. He's got to get past that long lead right hand. There it is. See, and he was short with it because he's lunging. I mean, he's a shorter guy, shorter arms, and it's tough to get inside, especially when a guy's on his Schwinn the whole fight.
You see Charles Clark kind of stumble over to his right. Young guy, 26 years old, eats a jab. Appears to be the best round so far for Larry Johnson, actually doing some effective work offensively.
But not enough. And Charles Clark, as you said, just fought in March twice, and also in January. So you know he's should be in good shape. And he's really been the aggressor in this fight, Larry. Not necessarily the effective aggressor the entire fight, but he's landed by far the most meaningful punches.
Larry Johnson had a real rugged road in the early 90s. After knocking out Alfonso Daniels, he took on some pretty tough competition and fell each time to the late Ruben Bell, Vidal Rodriguez, and Aaron Mitchell as well. 3 knockouts received by Larry Johnson, so to speak, and that was enough to send him off to the world of kickboxing.
Unless Charles Clark lands one of those right-handed haymakers, this fight has distance stamped all over it.
Charles Clark wide open there, John. You see there are opportunities here for Larry Johnson.
But see how wide he's throwing his punches, and part of that's a fatigue factor. And also being rusty.
Clark scores with 1 punch and shakes up Larry Johnson.
Now, Johnson just isn't sharp enough tonight. And you wouldn't expect him to be coming back after a long layoff.
Welcome back, Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Charles Clark and Larry Johnson looking at round 5 right now. And between rounds, Doctor came into the ring and checked a small cut, which developed over the left eye of Charles Clark. So we're going to have to keep our eye on that in what appears to be a pretty one-sided fight in his favor. Let's check with John Scheinman and take a look at John's scorecard.
One-sided fight in his favor, absolutely. 39-35 on my unofficial scorecard. I've got Charles Clark well ahead, but to me it's a bit of an uninspired performance. I think he could have done a lot more with Larry Johnson, who seems to get hurt with just about every shot that he's hit with. And I just think Charles Clark has had a little bit of a lackadaisical approach here, even though, as John said, he's been the aggressor. I think he could be doing more.
All right. Johnson and Clark.
Boy, I'm glad he wasn't my teacher in school. Jeez.
Johnson's trying to sit there and fight, trying to exchange with Clark, and that might be a bad move. I don't know.
On Johnson's part?
See how wobbly he is right now, John? He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah, but exactly. He's got nothing to lose but another fight.
Charles Clark just trying to pursue him. Big right hand right on the eye socket. And Gary Campanecci steps in. This fight is over quickly in round 5. Charles Clark gets his 9th victory.
And that was a good stoppage by the referee and necessary.
Larry Johnson walked right into that right hand once again. Got him right on the eye.
Evidently, Charles Clark heard Jon Scheinman backstage.
Well, you know, when Jon Scheinman talks, people listen. And here tonight, Charles Clark gets the victory. Rather impressive fashion, and Larry Johnson loses by knockout for the 4th straight time. Boy, the end came quickly in round 5. Charles Clark, a knockout over Larry Johnson. Yeah, I was right on the eyeball there.
That straight right hand that Clark was able to land all night, that was the final shot.
Charles Clark improves his record to 9-3-1. That's his 5th knockout. Comes in the 5th round, and Pat O'Malley has the official word.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by knockout at 1:15 of round 5, Charles Clark.
Charles Clark victorious. That's back-to-back wins for Charles Clark here at the Ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. He's an up-and-comer out of Baltimore, Maryland. And more action to come from the Ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. It's always unpredictable, John. And in the ring right now, 2 fighters familiar to us who are also unpredictable.
We've seen him for quite a long time. Beethaven, Scotland. He's been on the show many times. It's going to be an interesting performance. See if he can get back to it.
Let's get the word from Pat O'Malley.
Introducing the boxers. Out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks, trimmed in red, weighing 176.5 pounds from Capitol Heights, Maryland. He has a record of 4-15-5, 2 by knockout. Please welcome Arnold, Top Dog Fountain. Out of the red corner, weighing 169.25 pounds, wearing the black trunks trimmed in gold, from North Brentwood, Maryland, with a record of 14-4-2, 6 via the KO. Please welcome Beethaven, Scotland.
Certainly an exciting fighter, Scotland, out of North Brentwood, Maryland. Capitol Heights, Maryland, the home of Arnold Fountain, who has changed his nickname, Jon Saraceno, from Ali to Top Dog. Let's take a look at the matchup.
All right, Top Dog coming down in weight over the years. Now down to around 176.5. Of course, has a better reach advantage, but B. Scotland's got youth on his side, Larry.
Last time out for Arnold Fountain, a loss to Alfonso Daniels in this very same ring. This should be, if nothing else, entertaining. Arnold Fountain, a crafty type of fighter, knows all the moves, very slick and very thick around the midsection, while the B. Scottland has one of those chiseled physiques. Sometimes comes out to a fast start, and sometimes he doesn't. And we see Arnold Fountain trying to get a fast start himself.
Right away, you can see the difference in the body types of the two fighters.
The thing about boxing, John, you know, body types does not, it doesn't indicate it. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does.
You've seen a lot of fighters who are not in good shape, but are very good boxers and very crafty. And Top Dog, despite his lopsided losing record, fits into that category.
Well, he fights anybody, anytime. He's got a record of fights from '93 to the present. I mean, he's fought a lot of people in a short period of time and has had mixed success at best. His last win came in 1998, October the 30th, right here against Jerry Walker. Remember that night? That was an upset as Arnold Fountain went into his bag of tricks.
Well, he hasn't had many of those. Before that, Courtney Bridget, back in 1995, had been his last victory until that fight last fall that we saw.
Good, nice combination by B. Scottland. Trying to work the body. Now, we've seen B. Scottland the last couple times out. Against James Gatlin here in the ballroom in November of '98. It was really a workmanlike TKO. You might remember, John, that B. Scottland he really looked his best that night.
Well, he's always been a very good boxer. One thing he lacks is power. Consequently, his fights tend to go the route.
Jodi Wingfield coming in, and let's see. Taking a point away from B. Scottland for using the head. Wow, very quick.
I never even saw a warning on that, but perhaps there was a verbal one before that.
He did separate the fighters and asked them to watch their heads. So,
well, they were forewarned.
So that could be a decisive move early in this fight. This fight scheduled for just 6 rounds. B. Scottland, 24 years old. Arnold Fountain, 32.
We see Fountain put those gloves up in a peekaboo style. That's when Scottland's got to go downstairs and punch to the body. Right now, he's trying to hit through the gloves. I don't know how much effect that's having or if he's getting any credit for scoring.
And Fountain has done very little offensively in this fight. B. Scottland and Arnold Fountain in the ring. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Want to thank the good people at Budweiser for supporting Ballroom Boxing here at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. In the ring right now, Beethaven, Scotland, with the colorful black and gold trunks against the Top Dog, Arnold Fountain. Bit of indecision in the nickname category for Arnold Fountain, who came in to the building known as Ali, and the trunks say Top Dog.
I think those Ali monikers are best left for the original.
Now, John, you saw the point taken away from B. Scottland in the first round by Jodi Wingfield. He did warn the fighters once, but do you think that was a fair deduction?
Well, if it's not a flagrant foul in an intentional sense, shouldn't be a point deduction. But a lot of times the referee is seeing stuff on the inside that we're not seeing when the fighters' backs are turned to us. So I'm not sure what Jodi saw. In his opinion, it was enough to warrant a point deduction. But that's a severe penalty you're paying.
In a 6-round fight.
Yeah, it's a severe, harsh penalty. And a lot of times you see repeated rules violations, flagrant, go unpunished in boxing. Maybe that time a little bit too quick on the trigger.
B. Scottland certainly the more active puncher in this fight, though neither fighter has really been hurt by a punch. See the head of Fountain coming in low too.
Yes, exactly. In fact, immediately after the point deduction, I noticed Fountain is dropping his head right on the inside,
really slapping punches by Fountain. Meaningless punches, actually.
Exactly.
If you're Scottland, you don't want to be bothered by those pity-pat punches. You got to stick to your game plan.
It's almost like a bee flying around your head.
Nice jab by B. Scottland with the right hand, doubling it up.
B has some boxing skills. We've seen him in the past. He's a good jabber.
Nice combination of the body and head by B. Scottland.
I just don't know about all that the physique he has. It looks good, but I don't know if it's real power and real muscle in terms of, you know, at his weight, which is right now borderline super middleweight, light heavyweight, if he's just a blown up guy, because he's only 5'9". And should he be fighting at a lower weight?
It looked like he could train down a little bit, maybe train down a weight class. In fact, what used to be half a weight class.
Yeah, I mean, why couldn't he fight at middleweight?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. If he lost 7 pounds, it's the 160-pound limit. I just wonder how strong he is.
He looks awful pumped up, and I don't know how artificial that is.
A little swelling around the right eye of B. Scottland. Closing moments of the second round. We hope you're enjoying Ballroom Boxing tonight. Chandeliers are polished. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. We'll be back with more. We're back with more boxing in the ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. B. Scottland and Arnold Fountain in the ring. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno ringside. And once again, we go to John Scheinman for his look at this fight through 2 rounds. John.
Well, I agree with you. I think the point deduction by Jodi Wingfield from Beethaven, Scotland, for what he saw was a headbutt, was really, could be potentially devastating to Scotland. I have Arnold Fountain ahead 19-18 on my scorecard right now after 2, and I gave Fountain the last round.
All right, thank you very much. How about you, Jon Saraceno?
Well, he pity-patted his way, but I gave it a slight edge to B in that. I've got him ahead 19-18. But really, if you want to give it to Mr. Fountain, I got no quibble with that.
Tell you what, Scottland is really doing a good job to the body. I think if he can concentrate on that body, the motion and whatever emotion that Arnold Fountain has might be drained out of his body. Because Fountain has no power, at least no apparent power. Scottland trying to get in close and try to fight on the inside. Why, John?
Why is he trying to fight on the inside? Well, I would guess he does not fear anything that the other guy has. For one thing, you said Fountain's got no power, and if B's going to stand there, he figures he's going to shoe shine him like that all night, pile up points on the inside. I mean, B could easily box him from the outside and move, and we'd all be booing and saying, why don't you fight this guy? Plus, you got an older guy who's not in the best of shape, so you try to break him down. And certainly Scottland has the ability on the inside to fight.
But this is the point inside that where Fountain has the slickness inside, and he can show something to the judges in close that he might not be able to do from the outside. I don't know. I'm not sure I like the strategy of B. Scottland.
Well, I tell you what, Fountain just hit Scottland with a left hand along the ribs, and you could just see the air go out of Beethaven.
Nice left hand, blocked somewhat by the gloves.
He just knows that Fountain is not going to be able to hurt him, Larry. And so he figures he's going to stand right there and just keep piling up the points. He's showing him absolutely no respect. For a guy whose frame is really a lot bigger than Scottland.
See a big breath there by Arnold Fountain.
I would like to see Beethaven go to the body a little bit more, because Fountain keeps his gloves up and picks off a lot of those shots.
More slapping punches from Arnold Fountain, but Beethaven and Scottland not boxing back, not punching back.
Well, Beethaven should also step to the side a little bit. He's standing right in front of Fountain. He needs to give him a little bit more angle, so when Fountain drops, Fountain, when he punches, he leaves his hands low. See how low his hand is, his left hand? Look at his right hand. It's
big cut, huge cut over the left eye of Beethaven and Scottland. Bleeding profusely down the side of his face. I don't know if that's from a headbutt or what, but you see the blood just flowing down the left side of the face of Beethaven and Scottland here at the end of round 3. We're back. Good work in the corner of B. Scottland to try to stop the bleeding on that cut over the left eye. And Jon Saraceno, we didn't get a chance to really catch what happened. There was so much fighting on the inside. You believe it was a punch?
I think it was a punch. One of those wide right hands by Fountain, but we can't be sure. I think it was from a legal blow, though.
So I believe B. Scottland needs to be moving a little bit here, not standing in front of Fountain.
Yeah, he's not giving the guy any angles at all.
And I think the cut has bothered B a little bit. I think he's a little concerned about that here at the start of this round.
Well, he should be.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. And this is round 4. Very close fight. Let's check with Jon Scheinman again for his scorecard. John?
Well, I have Fountain pulling away. I think the old craftsman, despite his losing record, is really teaching B. Scottland a lesson here on the inside. The shots look pity-pat, but I think he's got some deceptive power. Occasionally throws in a power shot. I got him ahead 29-27 on my card.
Fountain just looking to counterpunch B. Scottland right now, not wanting to really exert himself.
Tell you what, Scotland's corner did a very good job on that cut. For how long, we'll find out.
Really not making Fountain work. Fountain is fighting at his pace right now.
Fountain's a much craftier fighter than Beethaven Scotland. Scotland basically knows one speed, one style, and that's about it. He doesn't really change up that often.
And for all the losses by Arnold Fountain, he's only been knocked out 1 time, and that was in his 3rd pro fight. Knocked out by Imamu Mayfield, a very familiar name, I would suspect, to boxing fans. A guy that went on to win the cruiserweight title, I believe.
For about 10 minutes.
Hey, it beats no minutes.
That's right. He did do it. He was a champion for a while.
Once again, I don't know how you could give a round like this to Arnold Fountain. He really has shown no punching ability in this round, but Scottland not doing much either.
And now that cut is trickling blood from along the left eye area of Beethaven Scotland.
It's bothering him, John. You just can tell because Fountain is moving in slow motion. Scottland is in good condition, just really not doing anything right now in this round.
He's giving him the old Ali here, or the old top dog, or the new top dog.
That's right. Round 4 coming to a close at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Round 5 just underway here in the ballroom. B. Scottland in the gold and black trunks. Arnold Fountain in the red and white trunks. John, who did you score the last round to, round 4?
Ali, or Fountain, whatever his name is.
Top dog, Arnold Fountain.
Now he's got me calling him Ali. He's not even called that anymore.
Now what the deal is here with B. Scottland. Now he's trying to fire off some punches.
I think that cut is bothering him. You're right, Larry. You made that point in the last round.
And if he gets himself in too deep of a hole, he's going to have a hard time putting Arnold Fountain away if he needs a knockdown or a knockout, because Fountain hasn't been knocked out since 1995.
A Fountain doesn't do one thing particularly well, but he just stands in front of you and keeps throwing. And obviously, the guy is a cream puff puncher. But he has been piling up the points.
Good body work there by B. Scottland. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. He wasn't doing enough body punching to get Fountain to drop those hands a little bit to protect his ribs and then go up top.
Another real nice body shot by B. Scottland.
Well, let's face it, Scottland was probably playing Fountain a little bit cheap.
And really nothing behind those punches by Arnold Fountain, but Scottland not punching back. That's a slapping punch with an open hand.
Yeah, that was actually an illegal blow. And now you see Fountain trying to go down low. He didn't like those body shots, so he's giving it back. At one point, it looked like he hit Scottland around the hip area.
Nice left hand by B. Scottland. The blood beginning to flow from the cut over his left eye.
Well, you know, Fountain's going to throw those right hands to try to get that blood to flow again, and maybe get a stoppage.
Fountain trying to fight from a distance. Scottland holding that left hand cocked. That blood really not coming down with any, not flowing out, so I think he's okay. Nice straight right hand by Arnold Fountain. And a good body shot by Arnold Fountain, turning the tide a little bit here in round 5.
You know what? He is winning this round, Fountain.
Good left hand by B. Scottland. Good right hand by Scottland. Fountain leans up against the ropes. Very crafty guy, Arnold Fountain.
He does a lot of things wrong, but somehow enough of them come out right. At least they have here tonight. Sometimes when he throws, he's off balance. But he keeps forging ahead.
End of the fifth coming up. 3 minutes to go, round 6 to decide it. We'll be back. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno in the ring. B. Scottland and Arnold Fountain. Fountain looking for just his 5th win in his career with 15 losses for the career. John Scheinman, is he leading going to the last?
Well, my judgeometer says it's going to be a little bit closer than I have it on my unofficial card, but I've got Arnold Fountain way ahead, 49-45. B. Scottland had a point taken away in the first round for what was considered a headbutt, and then his work rate just plummeted, and Ollie Fountain pity-patted his way to a lot of points in those middle rounds, and by the time B. Scottland wakes up, fight's over. He's in big trouble here, especially since, as all fighters know that have fought him, you don't knock out Ollie Fountain.
All right, Jon Saraceno, do you concur?
I got him ahead by a couple of points, but I agree with our esteemed colleague.
Which one is that? Jon Scheinman. Oh,
you're the steamed colleague. He's the esteemed colleague. No, you're not going to knock this guy out. He's not going anywhere. And in retrospect, your point about is Scottland using the right strategy to fight Fountain may have been proven right.
It's tough to tell because the punches by Fountain had nothing on them, so it's a very tough fight to judge. The only thing that was for sure that happened in this fight, there was a point taken away from B. Scottland in the early going for a headbutt, which we didn't see. So that's about the only sure thing here tonight. Now Fountain moving, thinking he has this one in the bag. B. Scottland needs to catch up.
Well, recently boxing's experimented with open scoring. Since we don't have it here tonight, we can't tell you who's ahead. And I think it's a mistake for Mr. Fountain to assume at this point that he's got this in the bag. And right now he's giving away the round.
It would look like it. Nice right hand by B. Scottland. Scottland needs to find a way to pursue Fountain here. Final moments of this final round and at least finish strong. Scottland scores with the left hand. Fountain continues to move away. Fountain just has a way of using those shoulders to deflect punches away from his chin. I mean, crafty is the perfect word to describe Arnold Fountain. But I do think he has given away this final round, Jim.
Yeah, no question. You know what? I suspect the scores might be a little bit closer than we think.
Well, the result of this fight is a mystery to us, isn't it?
It's always a mystery.
Good right hand by B. Scottland. And the end of this fight. There's some mutual respect there between Arnold Fountain and B. Scottland. Two guys familiar with each other from the DC boxing area. Did Scottland do enough to win this fight, or is Ali a winner? Is he the top dog indeed? We'll find out when we return to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. You never know what you're going to see here in the ballroom. B. Scottland came in, a big favorite. Arnold Fountain, the veteran, seems to have done enough to win. What do you think?
Looks like he did. We'll have to see what the judges say. We thought so, but what do we know?
We don't know anything. I'll tell you the man that knows everything. It's Pat O'Malley, our ring announcer, with the decision.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We have a majority decision. Judge Bill Holmes scores it 57-56, Scottland. Judge Risher scores it 57-56, Fountain. And Judge Chevalier scores it 57-56, and the winner by majority decision, B. Scottland.
Arnold Fountain can't believe it. He can't believe it. He's broken into laughter. B. Scottland, the winner tonight. Somewhat controversial. You see a snicker on the face of B. Scottland. He knows he got away with one tonight. A victory on a night when he wasn't his best, but he does take home the victory. Let's go to Scottland, standing by with Jon Scheinman.
Well, Beethaven, after the scores were announced, Ali Fountain, who's walking away in disgust, collapsed in the ring in mock horror. He obviously felt he won the fight. You sort of had a sheepish grin on your face. Who do you think won the fight, really?
Well, it was a close fight, you know. Of course, I won't say I won, you know. I mean, he's a good fighter and everything. I seen him really literally beat people up in here. So, you know, I trained with him. He watched me grow up and everything. We basically trained in the same gym and everything, and it was a nice fight.
But who do you think won the fight?
I won. Who else gonna say I won? I won.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was a close fight, and I felt as though I pulled it out. They took a point from me in the first round. You know, we did clash heads, but that's part of boxing, though.
Well, Beethaven Scottland definitely feels he won the fight. Ali Fountain, maybe a little bit different feeling. Let's go back to ringside to Larry and Jon.
Thank you very much, Jon Scheinman. Yeah, Scottland thinks he won it, and the judges thought so too, and that's all that matters. More Ballroom Boxing coming up after a timeout. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Time to go up to one of the talents from Baltimore's Classic Rock 104.3 with the official ring announcements for our next fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? The third fight of the night. Ballroom Boxing of Michael's 8th Avenue proudly presents this 6th-round bout in the flyweight division. Referee in charge, Kenny Chevalier. To my left, in the blue corner, weighing in at 111 1/4 pounds, from Absecon, New Jersey, the record of 4-0 with 2 knockouts, Devinder Nepal Tiger Thapa. And to my right, in the red corner, weighing in at 109 3/4 pounds, from Baltimore, Maryland, with a record of 4-1-1 with 2 knockouts, Mike the Jockey Thomas.
Mike Thomas against the unbeaten Devinder Thapa, who comes to us from Nepal, India. And I tell you what, he is all business in the ring. Mike Thomas is training to become a jockey. And I'm not sure if he's not going to need a horse against Mr. Thapa. Thapa, a former Olympian. And here we go, Mike Thomas against Thapa. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds.
I don't know if Thapa ever made it to the Olympic team, but he was certainly one of his country's top amateur fighters. I don't know.
What's he doing in there, John? Does he realize the fight is underway?
The Thapa Rappa.
Mike Thomas has to be a little bit unnerved by the actions of Thapa here in this fight.
I got news. I'm a little unnerved sitting here.
And Thapa is all wound up.
Well, Mike Thomas fighting a left-hander who he knows nothing about.
You see he's waving that arm out there. He's just certainly unorthodox, to say the least. Mike Thomas trying to dig onto Thapa's body.
Mike Thomas knows he's going to have to throw a lot of right hands against Thapa. Thapa's very unorthodox, quirky.
He's throwing some punches from some angles we haven't seen before.
And he's quick. Quick as Thomas is. Thapa's motions and movements, hand speed, foot speed, he's all over the place.
Thapa 4-0, he's 22 years old.
They hit him to the back of the head. Thomas got hit to the back of the head and slipped. Good call by Kenny Chevalier. Ooh,
nice little right hand by Mike Thomas.
Thomas tried to throw that straight right hand when Thapa was coming in. There was a clash of heads accidentally. This is going to be a dirty little brawl, Larry.
It's one of these unpredictable fights that we talk about here in the ballroom. Very little known about Thapa, coming in here with an Olympic background out of Nepal, India. 4-0 as a professional. Last fight came in April of this year. A first-round demolition of Luis Diaz in New Jersey. All of his fights have been in New Jersey.
Yeah, conversely, we know a little bit something about Mike Thomas, who we've seen before, managed by J.D. Brown. He used to work with Sugar Ray Leonard and Ollie Dunlap.
Mike Thomas is a boxer in training to be a jockey. Now, those are two of the most dangerous professions in sports, that's for sure.
He also recently just took a barber's test.
Really?
Yes.
He's hoping to clip Thapa tonight.
I guess he's keeping his options open.
Round one, entertaining. Devinder, Thapa, and Mike Thomas out of Baltimore, Maryland. Back with more in the ballroom. 26-year-old Mike Thomas going up against 22-year-old Devinder Thapa. We could say Thapa's from India, Nepal, wherever you want. He lives in Atlantic City, New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just say it's Atlantic City's Thapa against Baltimore's Mike Thomas. And Erie, Pennsylvania's Jon Saraceno is with me here, John. And you see a guy like Mike Thomas comes in, a traditional fighter, very well trained, has a good management team. He sees a guy like Thapa who's throwing his arms out, just really all kinds of different directions. What's a guy like Thomas to think?
Well, he's got to be careful, especially at the beginning. But you know what? I think Thomas feels he's got this guy figured out. Now, Thapa makes a lot of motions, but again, it's effective aggressiveness, and is he landing any punches? And I think Thomas is connected a little bit more. Started off pretty strong in his second round. Some dirty blows. Ken Chevalier warning Thapa for striking Mike Thomas on his back. Thomas began his career with Kevin Rooney, who used to train Mike Tyson for his first 3 fights.
Thomas has good defensive skills. You see, he's staying out of harm's way, staying out of the punching range of Thapa. Thapa could have some power if he could only sit down on his punches and find some leverage. There he is trying to fake Thomas out, once again hitting him in the back.
And a lot of times at this weight, boy, they are clashing heads, Larry, on the inside. A lot of butting going on, both fighters. A lot of times at this lower weight, you don't know what you're going to get except for a guy who throws a lot of punches. And that's what Mike Thomas is facing here, and down he goes.
Quick left hand by Thapa, who just has no idea what to do. He can't find the neutral corner.
He looks like my 11-year-old son skipping around the ring.
Kenny Chevalier picks up the mouthpiece of Mike Thomas, and Thapa gets himself together.
Well, I tell you what, Thapa's really trying to turn that left hand over. He wants to stop Thomas right here in the second round.
2 of Thapa's 4 wins have come by knockout.
You got to figure Thapa realizes he's in the other guy's backyard, and can he win a close decision? Yeah, there's a lot of dirty stuff going on, and Kenny Chevalier is doing a good job of keeping these guys, trying to at least keep it clean and above board. Oh, good straight left hand by...
Down goes Thomas. That was a punishing left hand. And Thapa's taking laps around the ring.
That was a double left hand, and the second one sent Thomas to the canvas.
Thapa is all full of energy, I'll tell you what. He's entertaining. Big right hand, overhand right.
I want to get some of that ginseng that Thapa's using, because I'm telling you, he is all over the place.
My goodness, let's take a look at the knockdown punch from Thapa. Comes in, it was a left hand right on the cheek of Mike Thomas, who goes down. Ballroom Boxing is the best. We'll be back with round 3 after a timeout. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. The very, very unorthodox Devinder Thapa put Mike Thomas down in that last round, round 2. Let's quickly check with John Scheinman for the scorecard. John.
Those straight left hands were shocking blows. I gave it a 10-7 round for Thapa, but I gave Thomas the first round by a slight margin, so Thapa's only ahead 19-17 on my unofficial card after 2 rounds. Still a very close fight.
Thank you, John. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds, and you know, Jon Saraceno, Thapa, after the knockdown, began to do laps around the ring. I don't think he knows the rules of boxing. I don't think he knows where the neutral corner is.
I think he thinks it's the Indy 500 qualifying, and he's at the Speedway. He was motoring around the ring in 3rd gear. I tell you what, though, the ironic thing about Thapa is I don't think he realizes he's fighting a guy who's managed by Sugar Ray Leonard's friend and cohort, J.D. Brown. He's actually had these Sugar Ray Leonard type moves where he's trying to imitate Leonard with the bolo and the taunting. And
you see fighters from overseas and look at what he's doing. What is he doing now? Check him out. What is he doing now? He's looking at ringside, not looking at the opponent at all.
He looks like he's on a bad LSD trip. I'm telling you, this guy is everywhere. I don't know what he's doing.
I'll tell you what, he's got the crowd upset.
Save this one for the archives.
Oh, God. Oh, this is the best ballroom boxing. You can't beat it. In the ring right now, Devinder Thapa against Mike Thomas. And I got to tell you, in all the time we've been doing ballroom boxing, Thapa is the most unusual boxer I have ever seen, without a doubt.
I'm starting to think that leopard that was on his pants, I'm starting to think the leopard's still alive and he's in his shorts.
Well, Mike Thomas complaining a little bit. This guy's tactics are so unorthodox. It's got everybody in here just pinching themselves, wondering what is it that we're seeing.
I don't know. I may have called my last fight.
Goodness gracious, hard to get my composure, and I'm not even in the ring. Thapa. Hard to judge this round. What are you looking for when you watch this guy fight? I'll tell you what, maybe this is one of these guys that one day, becomes a champion. I don't know. I think you can market this guy, that's for sure.
This guy's nickname ought to be Frank.
Frank Thapa, very good. Oh, Jon, this is probably been your most witty fight. And if I were you, I would take this fight, get the transcript, and put it in the next column in USA Today. Well, we're having some fun in the ballroom. We'll be back with more ballroom boxing right here on Home Team Sports. Don't go away. Well, I'll tell you what, he's exciting. Devinder Thapa back into the ring.
It looks like a unicorn. What was that?
I'll tell you what, he's very unorthodox. I think the guy's got something. He's got me excited about this, I'll tell you that.
What's up with the glove to the forehead?
I don't know. He's got all kinds of unorthodox moves. Maybe with the leopard print, he's trying to emulate Prince Nassim Hamed. I'm not sure.
Oh, my gosh. He's got a little Camacho thrown in there, a little Jimi Hendrix.
And Mike Thomas probably has no idea from what planet the opposition is from.
Right now, he's about a foot away from me, and that's a little too close.
Thomas trying to stay in there, trying to fight his conventional style. Almost impossible to do against a guy like this, Jon.
I know it's impossible to broadcast.
And I can't wait, if Thapa wins this fight, to hear his interview with Jon Scheinman. Thomas just trying, Jon. We're so distracted at ringside. Oh, I can't take it. Let's go to Jon Scheinman for a look at the scorecard. Jon, can you make any sense of this guy Thapa?
I got the feeling they were passing out some of that ginseng between rounds at ringside, but right now I have it 29-26 for Devinder Thapa. I'd be interested to see what Mark Johnson, the IBF Junior Bantamweight champion, has to say about this guy. Would he want to fight a guy like this? I mean, we know Mark's at ringside. I wonder what he'd have to say fighting a guy this unorthodox.
A veteran like Too Sharp would find a way to block out all this extra activity from Thapa. But Jon Saraceno, the thing here is the annex and the hand gestures take something away, I believe, from Thapa's performance in the ring.
Well, maybe it's his way of psyching himself up, because certainly he has his own style. And you know what? He's knocked the guy down a couple of times too. So it's more than just smoke and mirrors we're seeing here from Thapa.
Mike Thomas in the red trunks. Devinder Thapa.
I bet J.D. Brown never wish he had heard the name right now.
I think he might go across the ring and try to sign Thapa. Thapa again coming in with that head. Round coming to a close. A very, very interesting bout in the ballroom. Brought to you by Budweiser. We'll be back. Welcome back, Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. It's great to be with you tonight for Ballroom Boxing for Michael's 8th Avenue. And a reminder, next card here in the ballroom, September 30th, as is usually the custom for promoter Scott Wagner. He'll have some things going on here at Michael's over the summer. The next card, though, to be broadcast, telecast, next full card of Ballroom Boxing will come your way September the 30th. So plenty of time to get your tickets. And check us out on the web, www.ballroomboxing.com. Oh, good right hand by Mike Thomas. Scores on Thapa.
That was Thomas's best shot of the night. This is his best chance to come back and win the fight, Larry.
Thapa's a little shaky. Thomas pouring it on.
Thapa's got to try to hold if he can. Well, this is going to be a nasty end of this fight.
Thapa smiling. I don't know, that was a good shot by Mike Thomas.
He hit him more than once. A couple of right hands and a left hook.
Thapa not punching as he was earlier. I think that punch hurt him.
Oh, they are bashing foreheads.
Really are.
And you could sense the desperation with Mike Thomas. Will he get any kind of a hometown decision here, or is he going to have to knock out Thapa?
I think he's going to have to knock him out, John, because Thomas has been down a couple times in this fight.
Yep, that 10-7 round really hurt him.
Another good shot by Mike Thomas, and another right hand.
He's clipping him with those rights, Larry.
He's got to put him down to even it out.
He slipped.
Thapa really holding on right now.
And that's smart. Thapa doing just enough punching. Oh, another
right hand.
Yep.
Thapa's hurt. Mike Thomas with an amazing comeback here.
If Thomas could, on the inside, throw a short right uppercut.
Thapa has slowed down. His punches have slowed down. Mike Thomas has to dig deep. Good left hand by Mike Thomas. Oh, Mike Thomas got some serious heart. Now Chevalier could take a point. Now doesn't do it. Thapa just holding on. Thomas done a great job in this round.
Thomas has rocked him on at least 4 or 5 occasions in this round with big right hands. Thapa
running out of steam.
Nowhere.
Yep, Thapa's running out of energy.
Yeah, he is.
He spent too much showboating early in this fight. Another straight right by Thomas, and another.
Well, he's walking right into him, Larry. He ought to really be moving away at this point, Thapa, but he's just got too much heart.
Big round for Mike Thomas. Thapa stumbling back. Another straight right by Mike Thomas.
Oh, he ran out of time. What a gutty performance.
Great round for Mike Thomas. Things have closed up here. The gap is closed. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing. You're not going to want to change the dial. Action from the 5th round. Mike Thomas turned it around really late into Thapa, especially with the right hands. There's one. Thapa was just walking right into him.
He did not fight a smart round at all.
This is the 6th and final round. Quickly, John Scheinman, how do you have it scored?
I gave Mike Thomas a 10-8 round. I thought he dominated the 5th, but I still have him down by 2, 47-45. That 10-7 round for the 2 knockdowns in the 2nd round really built up a lot of points for Thapa. I think Mike Thomas is going to need a knockout to win.
All right, John, thank you. Thapa is unorthodox as he was earlier in the fight. Really slowed down in the 5th round, John.
Well, those right hands ringing off his head had a lot to do with it. Tried to hold on a couple of times, but was really running into a lot of them. It was overly aggressive in a negative way because he wasn't landing, he was only catching. It really, his heart was too big. He almost lost the fight right there. He got warned again by Ken Chevalier. A lot of headbutting in this fight, Larry.
Some bad swelling around the right eye of Thapa. I don't think it'll be a factor in this fight, though. This is the final round.
But Mike Thomas can't afford to just box this round. He's got to really have the same type of round he had in the last round.
I think Thapa helped him out a little bit, coming in without any protection in the 5th round. Just walking into right hands.
Well, If you think Thapa's ahead right now, you got to believe he's doing the right thing, and that is to move, backpedal, stay away from the power of Mike Thomas.
The question is, how far ahead?
Well, if we had open scoring, we would know that, my friend.
Maybe if we had open scoring, this would not have been as exciting a fight.
Thus the debate begins.
Well, you know, there's a lot to be said both ways. Of course, open scoring, if it was only open to those administering the fight, I think that would be the perfect way to go, because if the fighters know, and then it plays into the fight.
Well, Thomas is fighting this round like he's got all night, and he doesn't. He's going to have to gamble here a little bit.
Good right hand there by Mike Thomas. Thapa doesn't have the legs that he had earlier in the fight, but Thomas not forcing it.
Can't give this much to Thapa. The guy's still throwing, moving, and as funky as ever.
He's got his feet very spread apart. Well, punches from all kinds of different angles.
We see a lot of left-handers on the Ballroom Boxing series, more than you really see in the average card.
This guy's looking for fights.
Are you left-handed?
I am not. I am not, and I am not looking for a fight tonight. This fight coming to a close, entertaining for sure. Hard to judge at times. We'll be back with the decision from the ballroom after this. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing, where we just saw one of the most unorthodox fighters, Devinder Thapa, out of Nepal, here in Glen Burnie, Maryland. John, pretty entertaining fight.
Very unusual fight, and it's going to be interesting to see how the score is handed in, because, of course, the local guy really got the worst of it. Let's see if indeed he actually lost the fight.
Did Mike Thomas pull it out? Let's find out from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We have a unanimous decision. Judge Holmes scores it 58-54. Judge Risher scores it 57-55. And Judge Wingfield scores it 57-54. And the winner, and still undefeated, Devinder Tiger Thapa!
So Thapa still with his mouthpiece in his mouth, victorious tonight in the ballroom. No trouble with that decision. In fact, though, the margin of victory, I think, a little wide.
I think about right, 3 points. A couple of knockdowns by the winner.
All right, Thapa remains unbeaten, and an exciting fight for sure in the ballroom. More to come here on Home Team Sports. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. We have the unbeaten Jermaine Fields in the ring, and you know what? Pat O'Malley's there as well.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl Milligan Jr. and Executive Director Patrick Bonella, along with Ballroom Boxing of Michael's 8th Avenue, promoter Scott Wagner and matchmaker Josh Hall, present this 8-round bout in the lightweight division. The referee in charge will be Gary Campaneschi. Judging the fight, Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Don Risher. Introducing the Warriors. Out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks trimmed in white, weighing 138 1/4 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, with a record of 5-12-1, 3 via the KO. Please welcome Eugene Bad Boy Johnson. To my right, out of the red corner, wearing the gold trunks, weighing 135 pounds, from Landover, Maryland, with a record of 15-0, 12 by knockout. He is one of the Fighting Fields brothers. This is Jermaine Fields.
Jermaine Fields taking on Eugene Johnson. John, let's take a look at the matchup.
Well, big height advantage for Jermaine Fields. You see that Eugene Johnson, only 5'5.5" with a 67.5-inch reach. That's going to be his big bugaboo in this fight. But Eugene Johnson's experience, Larry, he's been around, fought a lot of different tough guys. Not necessarily an easy test for Jermaine Fields.
All right, let's take a look at this one. It is an 8-round fight. Jermaine Fields in the gold trunks. The unbeaten Jermaine Fields 15-0, and obviously he is getting set to try to step up in class. If you look at his list of wins, you would not say that he has really been tested as a professional. And let's see if Eugene Johnson can do that tonight. Eugene Johnson with a very serious look on his face. Fields continues to warm up. Fields is one of those tall guys who's got that deceptive power. It's the lanky, lean power. Now, Jermaine Fields has not fought in a couple of months. Last time out, beat Roy Simpson, a second-round TKO. In fact, his last two opponents have been Roy Simpson. Last time we saw him in the ballroom was January 28th of this year against Fidelio Morel, and he won by a first-round knockout.
Well, he's in his third year of professional boxing. Is Jermaine, turning pro in 1997. He's going to have to start stepping up the level of competition just a little bit now in his 16th pro fight. He really has not been tested. Question is, can Eugene Johnson?
Eugene Johnson missing by a yard with that punch.
Well, I guess he answered part of that question.
Kind of drew some embarrassing laughter from the crowd. Johnson switches to the southpaw stance.
He's got some tough guys in his resume, does Eugene Johnson. Terrence Coughlin fought Victor McInnes twice. Golden Johnson. And he was very busy last year. Boy, he had a slew of fights, Larry. Can you count that high?
10, yes, I have two hands. 10 fights last year in 1998 for Eugene Johnson. Jermaine Fields is trying to measure Johnson early in this fight. You look at Johnson, for DC area fans, goes down. Now it was a quick short left hand, and Johnson goes down.
Yes, it was.
He can't believe it.
I thought I saw Jermaine stick his leg out at the same time.
Johnson is okay. Johnson has a striking facial resemblance to Brian Mitchell, the Washington Redskins. Got the shaved head and real strong physique. Good short right hand by Jermaine Fields.
Now, you talk about football players becoming fighters. There's a football player who could have been a fighter.
Yeah.
Right? In
Brian
attitude,
Mitchell, for sure, yeah.
Athletic ability, strength, nasty little disposition. If you're going to build a football team, you want him on your side.
Yeah, with a lot of heart, you know?
Yeah.
Jermaine Fields has that lean power like we talked about. He needed room to operate.
We're going to see how much heart Eugene Johnson has right now, because I tell you what, Jermaine Fields at home here is going to start laying it on him, and you can already see with those right hands to the body. And he took a voluntary knee there.
Didn't even get hit. He went. He tried to duck the punch and took a knee.
Well, those body shots from Fields already starting to take an effect, in addition to that knockdown here in the first round.
Good sharp right hand by Fields. Doesn't appear to have much of a test tonight in Eugene Johnson. Stick around and find out. More Ballroom Boxing coming up. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Let's check out from earlier in round one, the knockdown, I should say. I don't know what happened there. His left foot came swinging out. He was not tripped. The punch did land, but it just looked like Johnson off balance fell backwards. Johnson has a different attitude in this round. He's going to have to mix it up a little bit or get picked apart by Jermaine Fields.
Exactly right. He can't stay on the outside, but the problem is when he comes on the inside, Fields really has the leverage and power advantage. I mean, this is, for Eugene Johnson, this is a tremendous task. To try to fight a young guy like Jermaine Fields, up-and-coming fighter, 14-0. And have the physical disparity in size and power. Let's make that 15-0 for Jermaine Fields. We've got a discrepancy in the record.
Now he is 15-0.
Well, let's just call him undefeated.
Jermaine started his career back on January the 17th of 1997 out of Landover, Maryland. The Fighting Fields brothers.
It says El Paisa on the back of his trunks. I think that means the country. Doesn't it in Spanish? I'm not sure. Probably really messing that one up badly.
Hey, I will not stick my foot in my mouth.
Well, you know me.
At least not intentionally.
My mouth's big enough to fit both of my feet in.
Johnson should not be up against the ropes. I saw you earlier tonight with both of them in there, by the way.
You're wondering how I was even standing, right?
Jermaine Fields just kind of measuring his opponent. It's one of those fights where if Fields does not knock out the opponent, it'll be a disappointment.
I can hear mute buttons being hit all over America right now as people are watching this. Let's get back to the boxing. Eugene Johnson, as we said, a small guy. And right now, Fields is just really tearing him up. There's no doubt about that. And it all starts with that body attack. And if Jermaine keeps going downstairs and then rips those shots upstairs, I don't suspect that Eugene Johnson's going to be able to take a lot of this, Larry.
Johnson switching from the left side to the right side, conventional southpaw, back and forth, hoping to distract Jermaine Fields.
Jermaine just breaking him down with shots to the solar plexus, kidney area, liver. To start calling him Dr. Fields. Wow.
Fields really doing some good work.
This guy is taking a pummeling right now.
Fighting back, though, Eugene Johnson.
But not effectively. He landed a couple of little shots there.
Eugene Johnson on a 7-fight losing streak. Jermaine Fields in command here at the end of round 2. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue. Jermaine Fields and Eugene Johnson in the ring. And ringside with the scorecard, Jon Scheinman.
Well, it's kind of an old story with Jermaine Fields, or getting to be one, where we just see him dominate lesser competition. Well, nice takedown by Eugene Johnson there. I've got a 2016. I gave it a 10-8 round in the first round for the knockdown, and I thought that round was so dominant for Fields in the second. I gave it 10-8 as well. He's dominating front to back here.
The thing about Fields is, Jon Saraceno, you see him against these guys, he's so calm and cool, but he's never been in a frenzied fight against someone who has power. At least we have not seen him in that situation. And until he is tested in that regard, you really won't know if he has championship potential.
Well, he's still a young fighter, and they're building him, and they're building his record. And that's what fight managers do. They're very careful. Some are more careful than others. But you can overmanage a fighter also.
Johnson showing some fire right now and getting through to Jermaine Fields.
Well, it looks like he's gotten a little bit mad. He's getting tired of getting pounded.
Talking to him a little bit, too.
But you're right, Fields is very poised. And now you see the slapping punches by Johnson.
Johnson jumps in with the right hand. Second warning for a low blow, Gary Campaneschi.
Oh, that was just a tackle.
He just goes after him.
You know what? He may deduct or disqualify. I don't know. No, I guess not.
Gary Campaneschi going to call the two fighters inside.
Well, you can't blame Jermaine Fields for that. He got tackled. You got to be talking to the guy in the red trunks. Gary taking charge there.
Good, strong move by the referee, Gary Campaneschi. Stop this bout and try to restore some order.
Every once in a while, Eugene Johnson, there's a slip there by Fields, gives Fields this look like, don't hit me like that to the body anymore. See how he's turning his side? He got really tired of those body shots, and that's why you see him moving like this. And of course, he has no chance of winning a fight doing that. And perhaps less chance of staying inside and trading, but at least he's got some kind of a shot. He's trying to throw the right hand, Larry.
Good body shot. Pushed him away. I don't know if that was a shot or a push.
He pushed him.
But Johnson is at least fighting back.
Yeah.
And he's paying the price. Fields with a ripping right hand, and you saw the wince on the face of Johnson, who dives away. Kind of an unorthodox move and throws out a left hand that scores.
And they clashed heads there accidentally.
Johnson stepping on the foot of Jermaine Fields.
Which happens a lot when you get a guy fighting southpaw and the other guy orthodox.
There's some nasty tactics in the ring right now, and some nasty intentions on the punches of Jermaine Fields. And the end of the round will be back here in the ballroom in a moment. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno in the ring right now. Jermaine Fields in the gold trunks going up against Eugene Johnson in the red trunks with a white stripe. At the end of the last round, Jermaine Fields had Johnson in some trouble, Jon Saraceno. Johnson have enough time to recover there?
Well, we'll find out to start the fourth round, excuse me. I think if Fields would have had a little bit more time, he might have finished him off. But Campanishi jumped in and broke the fighters apart, as he should when the round ended.
I think Fields got a little bit upset.
And yeah, I think he's just delaying the inevitable here.
Here he goes down to a knee again.
Well, actually, he did not touch the canvas with his knee. It looked like he did. Came about 2 inches from the canvas.
Fields really sets up his opponent well, going to the body first, then moving upstairs.
Well, Mr. Johnson is nothing if not a tough little cookie for Mr. Fields. But he's not going to have what it takes tonight. This is just a matter of a guy being too big, too strong, and too good for another fighter.
Battle of the uppercuts there, and you see Johnson just diving in behind the right hand. Big left hand by Jermaine Fields.
Yeah, shouldn't Jermaine Fields really be able to put away this guy right now? I think he should be able to.
I think he's kind of zeroing in right now.
Yeah. He looks like it. I'm pretty sure they probably told him between rounds, Larry, go out and finish this guy off.
Johnson in the corner, doesn't want to be there, trying to fight his way out. Does a good job.
But Johnson's legs are starting to really go. Very wobbly. And they keep stepping on each other's feet.
Good right hand by Johnson. A little mouse now on the left cheek of Jermaine Fields.
Johnson is ready to go. He's very unsteady. Why can't Jermaine Fields launch an attack here where Campanishi has to stop the fight? A sustained, aggressive attack.
Another big right hand by Fields. Almost seems like he's one punch away from finishing this.
Here's where he's got to pour it on, Larry, right here.
Blood from the mouth of Eugene Johnson.
Boy,
now there's a big time swelling under the left eye of Eugene Johnson.
He's taking a lot of abuse right now. I tell you what, I'd be close to stopping this fight.
The uppercut has been the damaging blow there in that round. Referee in the corner of Eugene Johnson, and they've stopped this fight. They have stopped this fight.
And it's a good stoppage, Larry, because I tell you what, Jermaine Fields was really hurting Johnson, and Johnson had no chance to win the fight. No chance.
Yeah, a lot of pressure put on at the end of the last round by Jermaine Fields. And the doctor came to the ringside apron, and I'm not quite sure who actually stopped that fight, but referee Gary Campanishi made his way to the corner, took a look, then called an end to this bout. So Jermaine Fields will run his record to 16-0. That will be his 13th win by knockout. So Jermaine Fields, a winner again. Let's get the official time and result from ring announcer Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The doctor stops the contest at the end of round 4. It is a TKO, and the winner, and still undefeated, now 16-0, one of the Fighting Fields brothers, Jermaine Fields.
Big smile from Jermaine Fields. And what does the future hold in store for Jermaine Fields, Jon Saraceno?
Well, he's a bright prospect. He's going to have to start stepping up his level of competition a little bit now in his 3rd year as a pro.
We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing, where the action is real after a timeout. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. 2 up-and-comers in the ring. Let's get the official word from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman, Carl N. Milligan Jr., and Executive Director, Patrick Bonella, Ballroom Boxing on Michaels 8th Avenue, matchmaker Josh Hall, and promoter Scott Wagner present this 4-round bout in the junior middleweight division. The referee in charge will be Jodi Wingfield. Judging the bout, Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. Out of the blue corner, wearing the silver trunks, weighing 154 3/4 pounds. He is from Shreveport, Louisiana, making his first visit here to Maryland. A 2-time junior national silver medalist, a former junior national champion, 2-time national bronze medalist. He won his first professional fight over Miguel Gonzalez. His record, 1-0. Please welcome, from Louisiana, gentleman, James Johnson. To my right, out of the red corner, weighing 152 pounds, in the white trunks, trimmed in black. He's from Great Falls, Virginia, with a record of 6-1, 3 by knockout. Please welcome, Jimmy
Jimmy Lange quickly becoming a hometown favorite, a home area favorite here in the ballroom. John, a look at the matchup shows us a very, very competitive battle.
Very similar on paper in terms of physical stature. Jimmy, of course, very young fighter, local product. Could be an interesting fight.
It's a tough fight for Jimmy Lange. Comes into the ring with a record of 6-1, trying to work his way up the ladder. James Johnson, as we heard Pat O'Malley describe, quite an amateur background, 1-0 out of Shreveport, Louisiana. An unknown commodity, at least here on the East Coast. You see, very powerfully built.
Well, we were told by promoter Scott Wagner that Jimmy Lange's manager turned down several local fighters, ended up with this kid from Shreveport they don't know anything about, which sometimes could be a lot more dangerous.
See an early battle of cat and mouse here, and then you see the very powerfully built James Johnson tying up with Jimmy Lange. These guys are very similar looking, John. Now, we've seen Jimmy Lange with some very impressive knockouts. Last time out here at the ballroom over Andre Gaskins, over Matthew Hill in January, a first-round TKO. Had a fight against Travis Clybourne in between in February of this year. One in a first-round knockout. So Jimmy Lange has gone a combined total of 7 rounds over his last 4 fights. So he's used to getting people out of there early.
He told us before the fight tonight that you know, he's still learning, and it's going to take a while before he gets where he feels he needs to be. Working with trainer Pepe Correa, who Jimmy says he's known since he was a little boy when his dad used to take him into the local Falls Church gym. He would hang around, and when he sought out a trainer after he turned pro, he went right to Pepe Correa, who has worked with Sugar Ray Leonard, Lennox Lewis, among many other professionals.
Johnson trying to rough up Jimmy Lange. Jimmy Lange's been boxing for quite a long time, since he was 7 years old.
Jimmy Lange almost has a throwback look to him.
See some redness around the eyes of James Johnson. Good right hand by Jimmy Lange, glancing blow. And you got to give Johnson credit to come into the backyard of Jimmy Lange and take him on in just his second professional fight.
I don't know if I had a young guy like this if I'd match him that way, but then again, that's what his manager chose to do. We'll find out if he was right in his decision. To me, when you're building a fighter, you don't go in the other guy's backyard with a record like Jimmy Lange, even though he has 1 defeat. I think he scored a pretty good knockout last time we were here, wasn't he?
Did indeed. First round coming to a close as James Johnson misses wildly. Jimmy Lange does with a right hand and pays the price up against the ropes. 3 minutes in the books. More to come on Home Team Sports. This round 2, Jimmy Lange against James Johnson. Two similar looking fighters. Lange with the black stripe on the trunks. Johnson with the sequined white trunks. John, the first round, a tough round to score. How did you score that first round?
I gave it to Lange, but he got hit hard there at the end of that round. And I tell you what, Johnson is picking up here early in the second. Jimmy Lange is going to be in a real fight here tonight. Maybe more than they bargained for, Larry.
Lange's got to use that reach, use that jab a little bit, and get some rhythm. Johnson has the physically stronger body. But that does not, mean he's got the stronger punch.
Johnson seems to be a little more compact with his shots, a little bit more poised. Jimmy at times still throws wide. And he's backing straight up from some of these shots.
This fight is scheduled for just 4 rounds. This is the second round right here.
And Jimmy's going to have to be more aggressive as this fight wears on. And he tried to throw a counter left hook, Johnson. I don't think he caught much but air there. And Johnson doesn't jab very much, does he, Larry?
A very compact fighter. Moves well defensively. It's a tough matchup here. We're talking about styles making fights. Here's two styles right here that really don't mesh. So whoever is maybe the more poised and polished of the two might end up winning this fight. It's a bit of a smile on the face of James Johnson.
Yeah, when he gets hit, he kind of grins. Johnson should go to work on the body there when he pins him against the ropes. A little bit of extracurricular activity there along the ropes.
Jermaine Lange needs to use that jab.
Yeah, well there he was doubling and tripling up with it. And he's going to need to do a lot more of that. And the other guy's not jabbing at all. So if nothing else, Lange can build points off the jab.
So Lange huffing and puffing through his mouthpiece. He does not want to stay up along those ropes. Jodi Wingfield in the way a little bit there.
Tell you what, Lange got hit with some body shots there, and I tell you what, that hurt Jimmy Lange in the sense that he did not want to be in there.
Big left hand by Jimmy Lange, a ripping shot with the left hand, and Johnson is hurt. Oh, that's the best punch of the fight.
He's trying to hold. Now, why is the referee holding him back? That was
another good left by Jimmy Lange. He's got Johnson in some trouble. Good combination has Johnson in deep trouble right now. Blood from the nose of James Johnson. And that is the end of round 2. More to come on Home Team Sports. And let's see if James Johnson has recovered sufficiently. And let's check in with John Scheinman for a look at the scorecard. Through 2 rounds, the fight scheduled for 4. John?
Jimmy Lange definitely showing his boxing and punching ability there. I've got him ahead 2018. I think James Johnson is just a plotter with some good power, and Jimmy Lange can really expose him with lateral movement and sharp punching.
Good body shot by James Johnson.
I tell you what, Johnson, Larry, 2 left hands right to the breadbasket of Lange.
Got some blood from the ear of Johnson. Lange with a nice uppercut and a pounding right hand. And he's got Johnson in a little bit of trouble again.
Yeah, he's hurt.
A lot of blood. He goes down to a knee. A lot of blood from the nose of James Johnson.
Oh, boy.
His nose is in bad shape.
Smart move by Johnson, though, taking a voluntary knee to catch a blow there.
Oh, Johnson is a mess. Blood all over his face. Jimmy Lange senses it. Johnson still is dangerous. His nose might be broken. You can see a swelling right on the bridge of the nose. He is a mess. Good body shot by Johnson. A lot of blood from the nose of Johnson. Oh, this is a mess. He is a bloody mess right now. James Johnson out of Shreveport. Jimmy Lange busting him up here in the 3rd round.
His nose pouring like a spigot of blood.
The doctor here at ringside taking a look.
Sometimes that looks worse than it is, of course. There's so much blood. I tell you what, he's still fighting back, Larry. I don't think you can stop this fight.
He's got a lot of guts, that's for sure. James Johnson has Jimmy Lange in trouble in a corner.
Look at Johnson rip away to the body. Look at him coming on.
Jimmy Lange needs to move. Jimmy Lange's in trouble now.
Well, this is the fight of the night, Larry.
Jimmy Lange needs to get out of that corner.
He's got to try and hold if he can. What is Jodi Wingfield doing? He broke the fighters with Jimmy Johnson all over Lange.
What is he doing is right.
Wow.
Lange is bloody from the eye. Big right hand by Johnson. Lange is in deep trouble. Both fighters a bloody mess right now here in the third round.
Larry, this is the best round we've ever seen, I think, on the Ballroom
Big right hand
Series.
by Jimmy Lange. Back and forth this round goes. What's keeping Johnson up? And he's battling back. What a round. What a round here in round 3.
Well, save this one for the archives.
The right eye of Jimmy Lange has been busted open, and the nose of James Johnson has been busted.
Unbelievable. The question is, who's winning the round?
Just an incredible round of action. And a big right hand by Jimmy Lange, and another one. Oh, mercifully, this round has come to an end. Jimmy Lange, bruised, battered, bleeding from his right eye. I don't know if he's got enough to finish. James Johnson is a bloody mess. Who knows what he's got in the gas tank? Quickly, John Scheinman, quickly, what's your scorecard say?
30-27, I gave that round 10-9 to Jimmy Lange. It was tough to pick, but he scored a knockdown, but not enough for a 10-8.
Jon Saraceno, what do you think? 3 minutes to go.
Well, I've got a shutout for Lange. Same thing, 30-27, with Johnson needing a knockout.
See, both these guys are wobbly. Johnson has blood from the nose. Lange has a terrible cut over the right eye. It would be a shame if this fight were stopped because of the bleeding. Good left hand by Jimmy Lange early here in the final round.
Without a doubt, that was the best round I've seen on our Ballroom Boxing series, and one of the best rounds I've seen in a long time, period.
Just back and forth the third round went. Jimmy Lange is going to have to hold on and maybe hope for a decision. I don't think he's got much left in his gas tank, and the cut over his right eye is flowing like a faucet. Jimmy Lange using that boxing ability, and really, if you look at James Johnson, he's no better in the blood category. He's a total bloody mess. Both these fighters are tired. Let's see if Johnson can do something here in the fourth and final round.
Wow, they're going at it again, Larry, just like the third round.
Well, this is two guys here with a whole lot of guts. Approaching the midway point of the final round. Blood just pouring from the nose of James Johnson. And look at Jimmy Lange.
Johnson sensing with just one shot, maybe he could win the fight.
And I know coming in that promoter Scott Wagner liked to promote Jimmy Lange as the good-looking Irish kid, but in the words of the Raging Bull, he ain't pretty no more. Gary Campaneschi, Jodi Wingfield stepping in there to warn him for pushing off. Johnson trying to dig deep, so is Lange. It's amazing these two guys are still standing after the punishment that was inflicted in round 3. I'm tired just watching it. Jimmy Lange just a bloody mess. Blood all over the place here in this fight. Johnson, good combination. Scores to the body and head of Jimmy Lange. Lange needs to use his feet, get out of the corner.
Johnson needs to throw an uppercut on the inside there because Lange's head's bending forward.
Johnson backs away. Now in the center of the ring, these two warriors still fight on.
What a tough guy, Jimmy Lange. The abuse he was taking there along the ropes.
Good body shot by Jimmy Lange.
Lange looks like he's cut along the eyebrow now, too.
This fight coming to a close. Boy, who has won this fight? Jimmy Lange's right eye is a mess. He's not going to fight for a while, I can tell you that.
Oh, what a right hand by Lange at the end of the fight. Incredible.
Pepe Correa, the trainer for Jimmy Lange, is going to carry him around the ring. Fans loving it here in the ballroom.
What a gutty performance by two young fighters, giving everything they had right to the end.
Wow, we're going to catch our breath and come back with the decision in a bloodbath tonight at the Ballroom. Jimmy Lange and James Johnson went to battle. Who is the winner? We'll find out when we return. Now Pepe Correa putting direct pressure on that right eyelid of Jimmy Lange, which was busted open in the third round. Here's some action from the final round. Jimmy Lange found himself in trouble when he got up against the ropes. That was when Johnson did his best work.
Well, when he wasn't using his boxing ability and his jab to keep Johnson off him, and you see fatigue setting in, and really Jimmy Lange a sitting duck for Johnson. Johnson couldn't just sneak in, step back, and throw that little right uppercut. Both fighters just wailing away. What guts by Jimmy Lange. He got hit with some big shots there that would have taken out a lot of guys. How about that one right there? And he just said to Johnson, come on, James, give me your best stuff. Unbelievable performance.
Got blood just pouring from the right eye of Jimmy Lange, and if he pulls out this victory, he is his stock is really going to rise here at Michaels.
I got to tell you something. Jimmy Lange, for people who are not from Virginia, the Northern Virginia area, as we are, is from Great Falls, Virginia, which is known as an area of high income and very wealthy families. If you watch this kid fight tonight, you would think he came from inner city Washington, D.C.
Tell you what, it was a gutsy performance by both guys, Johnson and Jimmy Lange. And when Pat O'Malley reads the scorecards, it's going to be a very quiet ballroom, I can assure you of that.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Before I announce the decision, how about a rematch? Judge Holmes scores it 38-38. Oh. Judge Chevalier scores it 38-38. And 39-36, we have a majority draw.
A majority draw. Two of the three judges had the fight scored as a draw, 58-58.
And I suspect the third had Lange, although we don't really know, but it was 39-36, right? That was probably a Lange card right there. I thought Lange won the fight closely.
It's one of those decisions that you seldom see, a majority draw. Two of the three judges at ringside saw this fight even.
Hey, got to do it again.
Well, for James Johnson, he is still unbeaten. He is 1-0-1, and Jimmy Lange now 6-1-1. Now let's go to Jon Scheinman with an interview with both fighters.
I'm proud to be here with James Johnson and Jimmy Lange in what has been widely considered the finest fight we've ever had at Ballroom Boxing. Let me start over here with you, James. Are you happy with the decision? I mean, is this a fair decision, a draw?
Yeah, it's fair, but I thought I'd come back hard enough to even the fight out and maybe be hit by a few points.
Did he
fought a great fight.
Did he break your nose? Is your nose broken?
I don't know. I'll have to have it checked out.
A rematch in order for you? Will you come back?
Most definitely.
Jimmy Lange, you started off terrific, but as soon as you broke what seemed to break his nose, he came back storming at you and almost had you out himself. What do you think about the decision in the fight?
Well, you saw the fight. You know the decision. I was sure I won. I don't think I won. I know I won. But, you know, he caught me with a headbutt to cut me. That might have made it look a little, you know, funny. But, I won the first 2 rounds easy. Knocked him down in the third. That's a 10-8 round. And the fourth round, maybe you call it even. But what are you gonna do?
You sound like
see a lot of blood.
You sound bitter about the decision, but when you create a crowd reaction like this at a fight, does that mean something for you, though?
I'd like to have the W. I earned the W. I didn't get it, so well, we will.
These guys are talking rematch. I'm going back to ringside to Larry and Jon.
That was a heck of a fight, I got to be honest with you. Who do you think won that fight?
I thought Lange had the edge. I really did.
I thought so too, and you know what? Maybe we'll see it again in September 30th, the next Ballroom Boxing card. Here in the Ballroom, our thanks go to our promoters, Scott and Mike Wagner, and for all the hospitality shown to us by the people here at Michaels 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Thanks to you for watching, and we'll see you next time for Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports.